This is the Transformers space bridge I made. So what is a space bridge? According to Transformers Wiki, the space bridge is a form of interplanetary transport, allowing Transformers to move from one planet to another almost instantaneously, without the need for a spacecraft, via a shortcut through the extra-dimensional realm of OnSpace. I guess it's just Transformers Universe's version of a space portal, and my knowledge of this space bridge pretty much ends here. The reason I made this is because my friend, who is a huge Transformers fan, showed me a clip from the YouTube channel Collector Crafts with this 3D printed space bridge and asked me if I could help him print it. It turns out the original model was created by Funby Studios, and Collector Crafts made its own video putting all the printed pieces and electronics together. That's when I thought to myself that I can definitely make this, and I can make this much better. The first step is to print the space bridge. I purchased the STL files from Funby Studios for $5, ordered 2 rows of purple PLA filaments, and put my 3D printer to work. Even though printing all the space bridge segments and the top caps literally took 2 weeks, it's still probably the easiest part of the project. Now, the first improvement, magnets. In the original design, Funby Studios left cutouts behind the magnet openings for wire connections, and the magnets were intended to conduct electricity. Using magnets as connector is not new, but the challenge is that the magnet will be demagnetized by the heat from the soldering iron when soldering a wire to it. That's why Collector Crafts still use the direct wires to connect LEDs. My first attempt is to use a spot welder. Basically, I cut out a small strip of nickel, solder a wire to the strip, then welded the strip to the magnet. This approach seemed successful, but the problem is that the metal coating on the magnet is way too thin to hold on to the wire. After testing with the nickel strip for a few more hours, I realized that I can just wedge the nickel strip between the magnet and the cutout. Because it's a very tight fit, the strip and the magnet will make firm contact with a very small resistance. As simple as the idea sounds, making almost 16 segments of this by hand was not an easy task at all. One of the key advantages of using magnets is that they allow for easy assembly and disassembly of the space bridge. Instead of dealing with cumbersome wires and connectors, the magnets make it much more convenient to snap the pieces together. However, there's one final issue I have to deal with. Sometimes the magnets don't make perfect electrical contact at the segment surface, due to the slight variation in magnets placement. To fix this, I have to add additional small magnets to bridge the gap. Now it's time to talk about my main improvement, the LED controller. In the completed projects by both Collector Crafts and Funby Studio, the LEDs are driven either by an external driver or an Arduino shield, both of which require an external power source, and break the illusion of a fully self-contained space bridge. My main objective for my LED controller is to create a complete system that can be integrated into one of the bridge segments. For my implementation, I went with Arduino Nano, a radio receiver, a buzzer, a LiPo battery, and a LiPo battery charger. This setup lets me write custom code to control the LED without needing any external wires for signals or power. This is also the reason for the radio receiver. so I can easily switch between different LED modes remotely. All the modules are soldered and wired on the perf board. To hide the finished electronics assembly in the bridge segment, I imported one of the segment STL file into Fusion 360. With some rough measurements, I added a base plate, hollowed out the inside, and added a charging port cutout to the bridge segment. I also added magnets to both the base plate and the bridge segment, so the base plate can be detachable. Finally, I used a dab of hot glue to fix the electronics assembly on the base plate, plug in the wire for the LEDs, and insert the base plate into the bridge segment. You can see everything is coming together nicely. This is the completed segment playing the Transformers theme song in one of the program modes. Besides the theme song mode, I can also use the remote to switch to classic mode. In this mode, alternating segments light up in purple, with the pattern changing faster and faster until the entire bridge is lit up in purple. This LED sequence mimics the space bridge from the original Transformers animation series. Of course, with the RGB LED strip, I also added an RGB mode, where the color flow through the bridge segments in a circle. I gave the finished space bridge to my friend, and he gladly took out the G1 Optimus Prime and tested out with the bridge. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and see you next time.